How can your nonprofit survive in 2026? Survival Strategies for Struggling Nonprofits, Part 2. In this episode, we will deal with nonprofit financial sustainability strategies, and we will focus on 3. The first would be operating reserves. The second, diversifying revenue streams. And number 3, strengthening board governance. Operating reserves. Building those very important operating reserves. Operating reserves represent your organization's financial safety net. Yet, they remain one of the most overlooked aspects of nonprofit financial sustainability. The National Council of Nonprofits recommends that organizations maintain reserves equal to 3 to 6 months of operating expenses. This provides a cushion for unexpected expenses, delayed payments, or temporary revenue shortfalls without disrupting programs or requiring emergency fundraising campaigns. Building reserves requires discipline and board commitment. Start by adopting a formal written reserves policy that defines the target amount, circumstances that trigger use, who has authority to access reserves, and a realistic time frame for replenishment, typically 2 to 3 years. This policy prevents reserves from becoming a slush fund for budget shortfalls while ensuring they are available for genuine emergencies. The path to adequate reserves varies by organization size and current financial position. Small organizations might set an initial goal of 1 month's operating expenses and build from there through planned annual surpluses. Larger organizations might allocate a percentage of any surplus toward reserves until reaching the target level. Some organizations build reserves by designating a portion of board-restricted funds specifically for this purpose, or by setting aside planned giving bequests that aren't restricted to specific programs. Many nonprofit leaders worry that having significant reserves will deter donors or raise questions from funders. In reality, sophisticated donors and grant makers increasingly view healthy reserves as a sign of good management and organizational stability. Your financial statements should clearly distinguish between unrestricted operating reserves and restricted or board-designated funds, so stakeholders understand your true financial position. Number 2, diversifying revenue streams without losing focus. Conventional wisdom suggests nonprofits should diversify revenue sources to reduce risk. However, recent research from Bridgespan challenges this assumption. Their analysis of large, successful nonprofits found that 90% grew by concentrating on a primary funding source while building multiple relationships within that category. not through broad diversification across all funding types. This insight changes how we think about nonprofit financial sustainability. Instead of pursuing every possible revenue stream, successful organizations identify their natural funding model and execute it exceptionally well. A human services organization with deep government relationships might focus on becoming excellent at government contracting, while building relationships with multiple agencies and programs. An arts organization might focus on earned income from ticket sales and memberships, while expanding into additional programs and audience segments. That said, concentration doesn't mean putting all eggs in one basket. Financial sustainability requires developing a strong secondary source that can provide 20 to 30% of total revenue. This provides resilience without the dilution and inefficiency that comes from chasing every opportunity. For example, an organization primarily funded by foundation grants might develop individual major donor relationships as a secondary source, rather than simultaneously trying to build a special events program, corporate sponsorship initiative, and planned giving pipeline. Earned income deserves special consideration as a revenue diversification strategy. Social enterprises, which are business ventures that generate revenue while advancing mission, have worked for organizations like Goodwill Industries, whose $7.6 billion in thrift store revenue funds extensive job training programs. However, many nonprofits underestimate the expertise required to run successful earned income ventures. Before launching a social enterprise, honestly assess whether you have the marketing, sales, operational, and financial management capabilities required. Many for-profit businesses fail. Adding business risk to mission-driven organizations requires careful analysis. And finally, number 3, strengthening board governance for financial oversight. Your board of directors plays a crucial role in your nonprofit's survival. Yet many boards struggle to provide the financial oversight and strategic guidance that organizations need. Research reveals that while boards generally understand their financial responsibilities, they often fall short on financial engagement, fundraising participation, and strategic thinking about sustainability. Effective board financial oversight begins with ensuring board members understand basic nonprofit financial statements. Every board member should be able to read your statement of financial position, which is your balance sheet, your statement of activities, which is your income statement, and your cash flow statement. They should understand the difference between restricted and unrestricted funds, what your cash reserves are, and what your current operating margin looks like. If your board members lack this financial literacy, invest in training, either through your audit firm or a nonprofit CPA like Temple Management Consulting, or resources from other organizations such as the Georgia Center for Nonprofits. The board's finance committee serves as the first line of defense in financial oversight. This committee should meet regularly to review financial reports, monitor cash flow and reserves, assess financial risks, and ensure appropriate internal controls are in place. The committee should include at least one person with financial expertise, ideally a CPA, CFO, or financial analyst, but all members should understand the organization's financial dynamics. Board fundraising participation remains a contentious issue, but the data is clear. Board engagement in fundraising correlates with revenue growth. This doesn't necessarily mean every board member must solicit major gifts, but 100% board giving should be non-negotiable. Some organizations adopt a give, get, or get off policy regarding board members and their giving, requiring these board members to either make a personally significant gift, help raise funds, or step down. Others focus on making board members articulate advocates who can open doors, even if they don't directly ask for money. Board recruitment matters more than many organizations recognize. Only 49% of boards actively recruit members based on knowledge of the communities served, and just 32% prioritize this in recruitment. Similarly, only 33% of boards are actively advocating for their organizations or constituents. Recruiting board members who bring diverse perspectives, community connections, and authentic passion for your mission and specific skills your organization needs strengthens governance and organizational resilience. In episode 3, upcoming, we will further discuss sustainable strategies, and those strategies will deal with technology, collaborations, and mergers.